Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host, right over here.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you guys again. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to this pod. Today, we have a lot to go over, and we actually have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's up, guys? My name's Karkast on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for having me on. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. It's gonna be super fun talking Niners. First day of training camp. Football's finally back after a while, after a lot of dead period throughout June, July, and we're already in August, which is crazy. So, thanks for having me on, guys. It's a pleasure, and I'm excited to talk some football.
Yes, I'm fucking pumped, dude. This is it. You're right. It was just a long, dry spell. We got through it. We trucked along, and now we are here. It is the first day of training camp. But Carcast, where can everybody find you? What's your socials? I know you're on YouTube.
Yeah, what are you working on lately, Carcast?
Yeah.
Yep. So on YouTube, you could just search up CarCast 49ers Talk. I should be the first one to pop up. So give me a subscribe and like over there. I would truly appreciate it. On Twitter, it's the same, goes by the same tag, CarCast 49ers Talk. And also on Instagram, same thing, very generic, but trying to keep it plain and simple so people could easily find me. So that's where you could find me. Check out my content. I've just been, I think I'm gonna have like a couple of guests tomorrow to talk about camp. I'm gonna have you guys on too, and a couple more content creators from the Niners and just all around the league. I'm trying to see other people's insight on the Niners and just with their teams, regardless. So that's gonna be super fun. So I'm excited, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah, it's been a long time coming to get you on the show, Carcast. We've been talking about
Yep.
it for a minute. So I feel like Carcast been there for us since like the beginning of when we first started.
A1 since day one, dude.
Yeah.
So
So
I
we
appreciate it.
definitely appreciate you. We love that we finally got this collab going. So we're pumped about it, dude. Thank you.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Yep.
yeah, did you want to just start off kind of like everyone throw out what they're excited for about training camp? Like what's your main stories that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll into it.
Yep. Let's do it.
Hey, you want to start, Carcast?
Sure. I mean, training camp, man. The quarterback, Brock Purdy coming back. Finally, off the pup list. Is activated. Got his surgery done and is finally ready to go, be active, which is crazy because I thought this was super early. Looking back at the timeline, I thought he was gonna miss a couple of the preseason games, miss a lot of training camp, and miss, you know, believe it or not, some of the regular season games. And I thought Trey was gonna be the guy, but now Brock Purdy's back. I'm kind of excited to see what he can bring to the table after the surgery, because Tommy John surgery is nothing to mess around with. It's a super serious injury. A lot of quarterbacks either they come out with more arm strength, come out with less arm strength. That happens to Nick Mullins. I think it was 2020 that season. Now with Brock Purdy, so I mean Trey's gonna have some competition, man. But I think Trey's gonna live up to the task. Been working out and working his butt off this off season with Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G's QB coach, Jeff Christensen. So I'm excited to see what those two can bring, but I'm definitely rooting for Purdy to obviously heal up and come back. But at the same time, it's kind of weird, kind of scary to see like maybe we rushed him a bit too early. Maybe he should have taken a bit more time off, but we'll see, man. Shanahan's saying, he's up to par, he's healthy, he's ready to go, he can throw. So it's going to be exciting. The quarterbacks are definitely going to be exciting to watch throughout this training camp. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Are you kind of I know I'm a little like skeptical like of bringing him back so early. Like, do you
Yeah.
almost want to see what Trey Lance could do for a game or two, or are you kind of like, no, let's just throw Brock in there. He's the guy.
I, I'm a real Trey Lance guy, man. 3 first round picks and a third. I respect people's opinions. Brock Purdy obviously had a nice run, went undefeated in the 9 games, not including the playoffs. Play phenomenally. Um, he can make off schedule plays. A 7th round pick, last pick in the draft, and that's a Cinderella story. Like he took us all the way to the NFC Championship game. And I get it, we had weapons around him, but man, that man did a lot. We were putting up 30, 35 points plus a game. I get it. I'm used to the logic. It's a small sample size. We did it with Jimmy in 2017. He had a 5 game stretch. We won all of them, and we jumped on the Jimmy train. And then ever since then, he hasn't played a full season for the Niners and just had the ACL. Wasn't the same Jimmy after that. So personally, I want to see Trey Lance there. But if Brock comes in there, beats out Trey Lance fair and square, I mean, well, what else can you ask for? He's obviously gonna get the job. He's gonna do his thing. He showed us what he can do. It's the surgery, man. It's the injury. I don't know if he's gonna look the same because before the injury, man, that dude looked like a superstar in the backfield. That dude he was running around, making throws, running the ball. Man, he looked like a mini Russell Wilson. That's what I compare him to. I don't usually compare players with 1 year sample size with like a 9 game stretch, but man, that dude was shocking the NFL. And there's another reason the NFL, defenses they can come up to par and see they could really understand Purdy's game and kind of lock him down as well since they already got a good stretch, good sample size out of him. So that's going to be something to look at. But if Purdy does beat out Trey Lance, it is what it is. He gets the job. But personally, I'm a huge Trey Lance guy, so I want to see Trey Lance there because he's got a lot to show in the NFL, and he's only played 4 games in 3 years. So that's just me personally. So
Yeah, I know. D over here is just sending me a pic of Brock Purdy saying he looks beefy this training camp.
Dude,
yeah.
he does. He looks pretty built. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good to see. I think, yeah, it is a little scary if you go back and look at the injury. You look at the history of the guys that have coming off that injury. I think the one that you mentioned was Nick Mullins, who got the what is
Yep.
it? Was it the implant? What is it? Sleeve?
The
What is
stint,
a stint? Yeah, in his
splint, something.
something like that in his elbow. He's the only other NFL quarterback that was to get that surgery, and his arm actually got stronger. So
Yep.
maybe that happens here. But I mean, you look at what the Packers are doing, where they're saying we don't even know what we have with Jordan Love, and Jordan Love's been there for what 3 years now,
Mhm.
and they still don't know. They said, "Hey, we're going to have at least half the season to evaluate what Jordan Love can really do." So maybe you do just. I would still like. I don't think Brock really threw today, so
Yeah.
I would just have Trey and Sam Darnold really battle it out in training camp. Maybe you'd take a spin
Yeah, I
because
believe
you
Trey.
just can't really mess with that.
I
It's a
think Trey
permanent
took all
injury.
he took the first snaps with the starters today. So
Yeah, so I mean, you got to let him show like you gave up too much draft capital. You got to at least spin the tires on it. At least when you do the joint practices with the Raiders coming up, who could potentially be a trade partner if things don't work out with Jimmy G, but it looks like he got cleared and things are looking up, but just different things. So I'm excited for it. I think once Brock does either win the starting job or something happens and he ends up in the spot again, he's gonna, really capitalize on it. And he does look beefy. Another guy who looks beefy, my number one storyline is the wide receivers. So I'm absolutely pumped about it. Brandon Aiyuk going in and was saying everybody in a white jersey, it's FU.
Yep.
Deebo Samuel looking cut, sending Kyle Shanahan more shirtless pics than Kyle Shanahan has ever seen in his
yeah,
life.
I'd like to see that text chain.
It's just, oh,
Yep.
cool. Shirtless pic. Cool. Shirtless pics.
Yep,
So that's
exactly.
the one thing I'm excited for. And people were really hyping up Brandon Ayuk this offseason, saying that he's going to make a monumental leap. I know Deebo Samuel was super disappointed in the season that he put forward last year. I think he's going to be a man possessed. I think we're going to see a true wide receiver one with Deebo Samuel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the wide receiver room. I mean, every offensive skill position is looking stacked for us. But how are you feeling, Karkast, about like the running back room, the wide receiver room, maybe the tight ends, anything like standing out?
Oh, yeah. You brought up the linebacker, man. I love the linebackers on our team. We've had one of the most stacked linebacking cores in the NFL with Fred Warner for years now. Dre Greenlaw obviously had that groin injury, I think 2 years ago. He's been a little bit injury prone, but man, those two guys on the football field together at the same time, our linebackers have been stacked. And it's just the third linebacker I've been really kind of looking at who could it be. Either it's Marcelino McCrary Ball, Oren Burks. He's a good special teams guy. Maybe he could step in. Maybe I've been saying maybe Tano Ufunga comes in and maybe plays that third linebacker role, kind of comes into the box and plays that Jimmy Ward role since he's kind of our bigger safety on the back end. But man, the wide receivers, D brought up the wide receivers, man. These dudes scare me. And I saw Debo's hard on himself. You saw what he said at the press conference. He said he played like trash to the media straight up. And I respect him for it because he didn't play that bad. It was just a huge ride last season. He was a bit injured. I think not last year, I think the year before that. He's been a little bit injured. He didn't play like complete trash, but man, the year he had 2 years ago, 2020 season, man, he balled out. He was in the Cooper Cup stance. It was him and Cooper Cup battling out to be the number one wide receiver that year with the Justin Jefferson, which is crazy. So Deebo, he's obviously lost some weight, so that could kind of help him. Brandon Aiyuk, 1K receiver last year. Dude, he made an insane catch in the corner of the football field today. He went up and got that. That was the one time. You've seen Brandon Aiyuk hurdle and jump and make these acrobatic catches just up in the air. He'll put his body on the line if he needs to, and he went up there and snagged that ball from Trey Lance, and Trey Lance put that ball in where Aiyuk could get it, right at the top of his helmet. I forgot who the DB was, but dude, this man Aiyuk. He's not playing like he's in his third year. This dude looks like he's playing like a veteran. He's showing a lot of confidence. So, dude, these wide receivers are definitely going to show out next year. So I'm excited, definitely.
Yeah, the Brandon Aiyuk hype, it's real, and I think he's gonna live up to it. It's crazy. Like I saw like a 2-3 minute highlight reel today on
Yeah.
Twitter of Aiyuk and Deebo, and they're just going off. And I was like, what's crazy to me is there's 3 different quarterbacks throwing these guys the ball. And
Right.
normally when you see highlights like that where it's a bunch of different quarterbacks, it's on a bad team and they're just eating up like garbage time yards. But this was
Right.
a great team with 3 different quarterbacks last year. So if we could get some stability in that area, like imagine how far these guys can go.
Yeah.
And they just proved they can play with any quarterback and be 1,000-yard receivers, be Pro Bowl
Right.
level receivers. So man, I'm hyped for this next season.
And even then, you're going to see like these fringe guys, like how you mentioned in the linebacking core, every single year. Once like they get to the final cuts, teams are calling up the 49ers. Hey, can we get that 5th, 6th linebacker? We'll trade you a 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick for these guys. So I'm pretty interested to see those positions, wide receiver, and then the depth linebackers to see who's going to get picked up and actually get a shot on like starting in defenses. It's pretty crazy, dude, how deep the 49ers core is.
Yeah, like Karkast said, like Oren Burks last year, like when we got him from the Packers, I believe he had started for the Packers before.
Yeah.
He had started at least some games. So when he came to just be a special teams guy, it was like we really are focusing to get our special teams better. And when he came in to play and cover for Drake Greenlaw, he looked good. Like he could be definitely a solid starter for us. It hurt me to see Aziz leave, but happy for him. Go get your money. Go be
a leader
for our defense. But Mercury Ball definitely is the guy. Like showed out last preseason. He looks athletic. I just seen a picture of all the linebackers together.
God,
they're huge. They're ripped.
Yeah.
It's like,
right?
Bro, like show me another linebacking crew that like looks that athletic in the league. Like it's ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that, the D line is going to be interesting this year because lost some guys who we kind of really brought up through our system. Brought in some new guys. Cleveland Farrell's a name that's going to be popping up a lot. Huge disappointment for the Raiders. Just get that out of the way. Huge disappointment. He went way too high in the draft, but I think he really could be something in the rotation for us. So, do you have any thoughts on what you're looking to see from that D line this year, Karkast?
One thing, Drake Jackson, man, dude, that dude scares me in a good way. Dude, I honestly feel bad for whoever the left tackle is or right tackle for Pittsburgh week one, because that dude, he's working out. He's gotten much bigger. At USC when we drafted him, I think our first pick in the second round, last year, he's great at batting balls down. That's one thing I really noticed when he got playing time. He has long arms. He's really athletic. His bend really stands out to me, and just his athleticism overall. He has great speed off the edge. I'm hoping you could replace D Ford. There was obviously a couple of guys we could have picked up, like a Justin Houston or Yannick Ngakwe, but it is what it is. I want to see Drake Jackson get a chance alongside one of the best defensive ends in the NFL in Nick Bosa. And, once he gets his contract, I want to see how he plays because I think he's going to bring the extra energy on the other side. So, man, Drake Jackson on the defensive line is super scary. I want to see him ball out. So Drake Jackson and, speaking of the defensive line, we got a lot of depth there, man. And Chris Kosarick, one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL. This guy can bring in wash products and turn them into diamonds, man. Like I'm telling you, like who was it? Kerry Hyder. He was with Seattle. He got cut. He played well with us. He led the team in sacks. I think when Nick Bosa went down in the 2020 season with the ACL, I think it was. He balled out. He led the team in sacks that year. And see what he did in 1 year. Chris Kosarick, this guy makes them work, and this guy gets these players paid. So I could go through Kerry Hyder, Cleveland Farrell. Screw the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. I don't. They can go live there. Happy little ride with Jimmy G, whoever they want. It is what it is. But Cleveland Farrell, people have been, kind of shit talking this guy, but we have Chris Kosarick. We've seen his track record, bringing these guys and, holding them accountable, making them show up, making them work. And these guys have been living up to the hype, So I think Cleveland Farrell could bring some energy and bring some great production when he gets to playing time. Also, we got Austin Bryant, I think, from the Lions. We got a lot of depth, man. Javon Hargrave, I forgot the most
Yeah,
the star of the offseason.
Completely changes our defensive line into another level. That guy.
When I saw that, I was like, the Niners, dude. The Niners actually do this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh god, dude, I'm excited. That D line's scary. And Eric Armstead, those two guys are bowling balls on the inside. They're basically tree roots. You can't move them. They'll take up double teams, and you got 2-star edge rushers, knowing what Drake Jackson can bring. We are gonna get a lot of sacks, and we might possibly be the number one defense for what is it? Third? What we were the number one defense last year, right? Or I think we were. So
I think we were
third year.
Yeah.
We're always up there in like top 3, so I'm not really doubting it. So I'm excited.
Oh yeah, that D line's gonna be. I mean, this is the place to go if you're a fringe defensive lineman and you want to get paid. Go there for a year, learn, get better, and I think it's something to say. Like, if you're opposite Nick Bosa, you're gonna get the best opportunity to make highlight plays because everyone's looking at Nick Bosa. And like you said, like Omenahue last year, he was a throwaway from Houston. Like I think we got him for like a 6th or 7th round pick. They didn't want him. We saw something in him, built him up. He gets paid. Ebukam, everyone wanted him last year. Like this free agency, he gets paid. So it's like, hey, as long as we keep getting those guys who are fringe level that we see something in, it's almost like basketball. Like you get those specialty guys. Like we see a guy like, okay, he can defend the run well. Oh, he's just a pass rusher, and we put them in situations to really just showcase their certain skills, and then they go somewhere else and they're not worth the money because Kerry Hyder in Seattle did not look that great, but he's back.
This is looking like an all-star level, like D-line, dude. This is crazy what we have. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead right there, and then you can just rotate whoever else. I hope Drake Jackson does solidify himself as the every down, I'm going to be out here pass rusher. That'd be awesome. I think it does help him now that he is solidified in his role. Like he's at USC, he was up and down in his weight. They were pushing him to the inside. They were pushing him to the outside. Yeah. Now that he knows, like, I'm just going to pin my ears back and let's get after it. I think that's going to help him immensely because we seen last year what he was doing, even just in training camp, bro. He was just batting balls down like crazy. So you get that on the edge. I think, we're gonna have some horses. They're gonna run, baby.
Yeah, right. And as far as the back half of the defense, the defensive back room, I thought it was interesting that Karkast threw out maybe throwing Nufunga into some linebacker because maybe we're too rich at the safety position now. I know people are hurt that Jimmy Ward's gone, but we got Nufunga now. Tashawn Gibson comes back off of like amazing year, Pro Bowl level year, and we get Jair Brown, who's people were arguing that he should have been a first round pick now.
He would have run faster 40. He probably would have been the top safety.
But I feel like that's the narrative every year. Like, oh, these safeties and DBs are running slow in the combine, and then it turns out all these guys who are in the third, fourth are like actually dogs. Right. So, yeah, how you feeling about these DBs right now? There's so many young corners on this team.
Jair Brown. D brought it up. I was surprised because his 40 time was like a 4 or 5, and they put him early in the second round. This is the guy I was really pounding the table for. He was a playmaker at Penn State. Was 11 interceptions, I think, in 2021. Like, this guy balled out. He was like their best player, and he was like the defensive player of the Rose Bowl, I think. So this guy's phenomenal. training camp, he looks good. He was, and that's this thing about Jair Brown. This is what really stood out to me today. He was the first one to show up to training camp today. To go out on the field and just show up. And that's for a rookie to do that. That he's ready to work. He's meeting his new teammates. He's been in contact with Tanu Ufunga, has great players in the secondary he could learn from. Deshaun Gibson, I know he's aging, but he's been in the league for years now. What is he, like 31? And he had a great season last year. What was it? 7-8 interceptions. You said Drew. He could be a Pro Bowler. Like, I thought he could be a Pro Bowler. Like, that dude played phenomenally. And then, Tano Ufunga, Jair Brown, like, he could definitely learn. And I'm excited for this DB room, man. Charvarius Ward on the outside. Diamador Lenore. Like, this guy had 2 interceptions in the playoffs last year. And there's a lot of shit-talking, crap-talking on Diamador Lenore telling me that he's small, he can't cover these taller wide receivers, he's not the biggest, he can't run with them. And I'm like, yeah, but I know, he didn't really look too good in the regular season, but he showed up in the playoffs, and I think this guy really could break out next season, man. Like, people have been sleeping on this guy. I know he's young. He's still learning. The defense, playing alongside Charvarius Ward, who's been in the league for years now, played, I think, with the Chiefs before the Niners. So I'm excited for Diamador Lenore, and I'm actually excited to see who plays in the slot this year, if it's Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons, Samuel Womack. And speaking of Samuel Womack, apparently, he changed his number to 0, his jersey number, and like it was the first time in franchise history for the Niners that a player has worn 0. So that's something to be super excited for. So
it's pretty saucy.
Yeah.
I want Samuel Womack, honestly, man. 2 interceptions in the preseason game. I think last year against the Packers, like, that dude showed up.
He was the dog in the preseason.
Or even if it's Isaiah Oliver, I don't really mind. Like, but those 2 guys are definitely balls, and they'll battle it out. So I'm excited for the defensive back room and the safety room, basically.
It's definitely going to be a battle. I know that they spoke very highly of Isaiah Oliver coming into free agency. They were like, oh, well, that was the number 1 slot corner, and that's what we really targeted. So yeah. I think he has the edge going into camp, but you are 100% correct. Samuel Womack looked awesome last year in preseason, and I think it's just one of those things with the 49ers where if you're a rookie, realistically, more than likely, you're not going to play. Like, they are very much like, you have to earn your stripes on this defense. You're going to sit here. You're going to do special teams. And if we need you, we'll call you up. But other than that, you're fine. And so I think we're going to kind of see that a little bit more. But I'm excited to see if Samuel Womack can get some, a little bit more respect and actually, throw Oliver. And we'll see. We know that realistically DBs are going to get banged up throughout the season. So sporadically, he's probably going to get thrown in there.
Yeah. And we're going to see through camp, like, who are the other guys that just make the roster. Like, I think they're bringing like a Quantrez Knight just to be in camp.
Oh, nice.
Like, I know last year, who's the real, Castro Fields, he was like in contention for a roster spot. So there's like all these camp guys who are really fighting for roster spots that I want to see, like, who's going to be the 5th corner, who's going to be the 4th, who could step up in the playoffs at the end when like everyone's hurt. So like, I just like how deep we are right now. Like, it's really shaping up to be a good room, a competitive room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Depth is always good to have, really. And I get it. Some Niner fans, they want the splashy guys. They wanted, what was his name? I'm trying to think of, like, Yannick Ngakoue, he could be, but just the depth we have, depth is always great to have. And the Niners, they put out a great way of doing it. And man, it's like you guys brought up, and I definitely agree with this statement. It's shaping up to be a great roster. And I really wouldn't rule a Super Bowl out unless Kyle Shanahan really stops with this whole ego thing, getting to his personality, and man, just get past the NFC Championship game. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, we'll be happy with that, no matter who's throwing the ball.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
That's the thing. I think me and D are kind of like, people are always like, you Brock or Trey guys, and it's like whoever shows out and plays and gets us wins, like, that's who I'm gonna support. Like, if Trey comes out and he has like an MVP level game, like MVP level year, cool. He's our franchise guy. But
Yeah,
right
I
now,
mean, if we
Brock's,
go and we trade
Brock's
for
the guy.
Kirk Cousins, like fuck it, let's do it.
Hey, might be Kirk Cousins next year. Have you watched that Netflix series Quarterback yet?
No, I should actually. A lot of people have recommended to me. I should watch it.
Oh
Yo.
man, it's good. Did you watch all of it?
I watched a few episodes. I'm not gonna lie, I actually like Kirk Cousins, the person. Like,
Yeah.
I think he shined on that.
Dude, because you're exactly like Kirk Cousins.
A fucking nerd.
Yeah, you just shop at Kohl's. You just like hang out with the fam. Like, don't go out. Like, that's you, bro. You're Kirk.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirk Cousins. Oh my god, dude. Kyle Shanahan's BFF. Dude, that's it. Dude, oh my god.
I mean, this
we'll
next
see.
year, if no one shows out, if we don't look good at quarterback, Kirk Cousins will be our quarterback next year.
It's not the worst thing. I mean, he puts up numbers. You know what I mean? That's one thing you can say about Kirk Cousins. He puts up numbers. He gets paid all guaranteed money, and he goes home and shops at Kohl's. Like,
You
that's
like
it.
that?
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I watch a bit of Kirk Cousins. Prime time. He looks like shit. I'm sorry, but he's known as prime time Kirk. But I don't know why they call him that. I don't know. He's so ass on prime time. Like, I don't know what it is. Even in their home stadium, he somehow finds a way to throw the game.
Mess it up.
Like,
yeah.
I don't get it, but he's not bad. He'll throw for yards. He's like a Jimmy G, except he can somewhat move, I guess. He's got a good team though. He's got number one wide receiver in Jay Jettas. He's got a good team, and he's kind of like a Jimmy G, but he just got a good team, so he looks good, so he throws.
I really felt like Jimmy G wasn't scared during like primetime games. He was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do it." Like, I feel like he could go out there and throw 5 picks, but each time he'd be like, "All right, cool, like on to the next one. Let's
this
go.
Is what you pay me for.
Let me slang it." Like, I feel like that was Jimmy, whereas Kirk, I think the lights are too bright for him at certain points, and right, even during like home games, I think he gets scared of like the skull.
Hey, maybe. Dude, that's hilarious if that's oh man.
Hey, well, speaking of Jimmy G, our last thing we'll talk about here. You said you hate the Raiders. Did you want to what do you think about Jimmy G finally getting cleared? He's going to be the Raiders quarterback next year. I mean, they signed Marcus Peters. There's rumors that Hunter Renfrow could get cut. Josh Jacobs isn't happy there. They trade Darren Waller. Like, what is your take on the Raiders right now?
My take on the Raiders. Wow. No, I can explain like a word or 3, but I'll be nice to them. It's not really being nice. It's not really being nice because, oh man, Jimmy G, dude, they lost Jared Stidham. I don't know why they let go of him because he actually played well. Now he's on Denver with actually a good head coach and Sean Payton, and he's backing up Russell Wilson, who's been multiple-time MVP. They're just losing players like flies. R.I.P. Devontae Adams, dude. I'm sorry, but you're not gonna be what you were last year. You're not getting the production with
Wasn't
Jimmy
he
G.
already complaining about not getting thrown to or something?
That's what he was saying, and he's tweeting out like, don't worry, Jimmy's my guy, dude. It's just sticking up for your guy. We all know that's false. He might get a couple catches here and there, but he's not having the year he had with Derek Carr last season. And I actually like Derek Carr. Don't get me wrong. He's a top 15 fringe quarterback in the NFL. He's not bad. He's really not bad. But the Raiders, dude, lost Darren Waller. They drafted a high prospect, high graded tight end in Michael Mayer in the draft, who I really liked. But Josh Jacobs, he did get the franchise tag, right? But
he didn't sign it.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't sign it. Okay, yeah.
I think he's a holdout for
all these running backs are holding out. Yeah, so Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow. I mean, dude, the Raiders, they have a good offense. It's just Jimmy G's holding. They got a 1,600-yard back last year in Jacobs. Devontae Adams, phenomenal wide receiver. Hunter Renfrow, one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. They got a good tight end. Got a pretty nuts. I mean, you could. Yeah, bad O-lines and Jimmy don't go together, so I wouldn't really put that together. But oh man, their defense! I don't want to get to their defense. They're just
like stupid. Who is on their defense?
Marcus
mean,
Peters, I mean, what is he like 35? 35? Like, dude, this dude's been in the league for years. What is he gonna do? Tell me, like,
dude,
oh
and
man.
I have like a personal vendetta against Marcus Peters. I won't get too deep into it, but I met
Yeah.
him when I worked in San Francisco,
Oh wow.
and I was working in a restaurant, and he's just like, man, the rudest guy I've come into contact with, and like he
Jeez.
really like I can't lie, I was the manager, but like I was
Hmm.
the cashier, and he
Yeah.
treated me like I'm the
Yeah.
lowest cashier. He's just like he was like pointing, he's like and
Hmm.
just like bro waving me off like
Yeah. That's so
hey
funny because you brought up the getting clear thing. That's crazy because he goes to the Raiders and then he has like leg injury and then it's because they're basically just taking what the Niners got. They're basically paying the favor. They're gonna have to deal with what the Niners had to deal with. And man, oh dude, their head coach is one. Oh, that dude pisses me off. That dude is a shitty head coach. I hate Josh McDaniel so much, man. I'm glad he left the Niners, and the Raiders got it. They had a good draft, but this dude's gonna find a way to put them in a dumpster fire again. I'm telling you, it's gonna be so funny. And we play
yeah
them in a joint practice too in preseason.
Yeah.
I think we play them.
yeah that's
We,
gonna be exciting like how our defense looks against Jimmy G, how this team goes against that Raiders, and then we play the first preseason game right
yeah, first
Uh,
preseason. Yep.
in
Week 1.
Vegas.
Yep.
So we'll see,
Yep.
man. It's gonna be Trey versus Jimmy, maybe that first preseason game. We'll see.
Hey,
I
maybe.
don't
Yeah.
know there.
You don't think
I think they're gonna go ahead and save him. They're like, let's go ahead and
they're not gonna do you're our starting quarterback, get the first series, get out of there?
If I was them, I would sit him. Hey, this team knows Jimmy's tendencies. We don't want to get this motherfucker hurt. Let's go ahead and sit him out. I would just roll out
Mhm.
the Purdue kid. Like, get out there, son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you got anything else you want to touch on, Carcast?
Well, do you guys want to talk about, I don't know, Nick Bosa? Like, do you think he's gonna get paid? The timeline on that? What are your thoughts?
Only the
Uh,
defensive player of the year. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about him.
Yeah,
If
right.
I'm the money person for the Niners, I walk up to him and I say, write down what you want. We'll give that to you. Like, no questions asked. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you, Nick.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it's going to be one of those. Like, I think we all knew that this was going to kind of be the way it was going to play out. We know the 49ers will sign people at training camp. I don't think, regardless, Bosa was going to do very much. He's just not that type of dude. They want to save him. So I think they're going to hash it out. I think it's going to be, he's obviously going to be the highest paid defensive end in the league, which he's going to be deserved. And I think he's going to go fucking bananas this season because of it. I think he's one of those guys that when you put him on this pedestal, he's like, all right, well, I got to live up to it. Let me go ahead and get in the lab and I'm going to get after it. And so I think we're going to see, I don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
say his here, but borderline.
pretty good
historic.
year.
Yeah.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah. I agree, man. I think they're gonna get something worked out. Same with Brandon Ayuk. His contract's coming up. He's gonna be under contract this season, so I think he's gonna get paid. Um, quickly, this really interests me because people talk about Christian McCaffrey a lot, and I get he's a phenomenal back, but sometimes I don't. It might just be me, but I'm scared for him with how Kyle uses him because I feel like we use him way too much in a sense, and we got such a tight knit running back room with Elijah Mitchell. If he, of course, stays on the field, that's the one thing that holds him back. But this dude, Jordan Mason, this dude, when he got playing time, he balled out, man. Especially in garbage time, he should definitely be in the rotation with Elijah Mitchell hurt. And we have this guy, Kalen LeBourne, UDFA. Our running back room is stacked, and I forgot the running back coach, but he's like,
Price.
Oh yeah, Ty Davis Price.
So I seen videos of him
Yeah.
working out this offseason. The
Yeah.
dude looks fast. I knew
Yeah.
he was big, but he looks much faster now. So I'm excited to see how things are divided up amongst the rest of them. Because you're right, they are good. If one thing Kyle Shanahan's going to do is utilize the shit out of Christian McCaffrey, but the rest of the
That-
carries when he needs a breather, who's going to get those? That's going to be very interesting to see.
That's the thing that concerns me because they use this guy like he's the number one wide receiver. Really, they put him in the slot.
Yeah.
This guy, they need to take a little bit off his shoulders because I get it. McCaffrey's great. He's great. We all love McCaffrey, and I just feel like Kyle Shanahan's bit too McCaffrey obsessed and needs to kind of give some other guys some chances. Not saying McCaffrey's bad, but at the same time, I think McCaffrey's like, Kyle, give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Yeah, it's like we have like so many other guys on offense who can play those specialty roles. Like,
yeah.
Look at Ray McLeod when he got that one end around this
That's
season.
what I'm saying.
Get to the house.
Yeah, it's like, hey, instead of like putting McCaffrey in the slot, can we get Danny Gray out there? Or like instead of throwing the screen to McCaffrey, can we, maybe Jordan Mason or Ty Davis Price or something? Like, let's let these guys get to the end of the season so we can use them. But
I just think
I might place a bet on McCaffrey MVP. So I kind of want to use him.
I like that. I like that. I like that for sure.
That'd be good, right?
I do.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah, and Karkast, why don't you tell us one more time where they can find you, what you're working on?
Be sure to hop over to his channel. He's fucking awesome. Be sure to like all his content. Be sure to subscribe.
I appreciate that. Definitely, guys. Yeah, go check out my content. It's just Karkast 49ers Talk on YouTube. Trying to get some guests on. I'll have you guys on tomorrow, so that's gonna be pretty fun. Really excited for that. And then, a couple more content creators I'm trying to get in touch with. But yeah, you could, best way to find me is through Twitter if you want to collab with me either on my channel or vice versa, whatever it is. I also have an Instagram. Really active on both of those platforms. I don't have Facebook or anything like that. I'm not part of any Facebook groups. I know a lot of content creators that I know of are part of Facebook and they get in touch with each other over there. But, mostly Twitter and Instagram for me. I'll check both platforms as much as I can when I'm able to. But guys, this has been fun. Football in about a month, almost exactly a month. I think it starts September 7th. And man, I hope we kick the Steelers' ass. You guys are gonna be there. Hope you guys bring some good luck. I know it'll be fun tailgating.
All right, thanks Karkast for coming and joining us on the show. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna put all his links in the description.
All right, peace.
See ya.
Peace out, Niners.